are some exciting new faces in the Canadian Football League this season, and two of them will be in action tonight. Harry Tuttle of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Bobby Johnson of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Johnson made his CFL debut on Sunday and ran for 116 yards against the Calgary Stampeders. Coach Jack Goda feels his style is particularly suited to the Canadian game.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's one of those good running backs that seems to find a weakness in a defense and just turns it upfield. Also, he catches the ball well coming out of the backfield. We got a good, complete tailback in Bobby.
Clemson product Harry Tuttle has some big shoes to fill as a replacement for Jeff Boyd, but last week against BC, he indicated he's ready to do the job with 5 receptions for 79 yards and a touchdown. Coach Cal Murphy is enthused with his play.
Harry's a pretty good football player, Don. He has been catching the ball very well, and he started out strongly at training camp, and then as the preseason games came along, he showed that he could do it in ball games, worked hard on the backside of plays, blocking and that type of thing. And since the Vancouver game, or game in Vancouver, he's worked even harder.
Johnson and Tuttle could be two of the big offensive threats tonight as the Saskatchewan Roughriders face the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at Winnipeg Stadium.
The following is a live presentation of CBC Sports. The best of Canadian professional football, the CFL on CBC. Welcome to Carling O'Keefe, CFL football. And now, for all the action, let's join our CBC commentary team.
Live from Winnipeg Stadium, the Saskatchewan Roughriders tonight will be attempting to spoil the home opener of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Hi, everyone. I'm Don Whitman, along with Ron Lancaster. And tonight, Ron, the Saskatchewan Roughriders attempting to make it 2 wins in a row after winning their home opener against the Calgary Stampeders. Will they do much differently against Winnipeg tonight?
Well, I know Coach Jack Goda doesn't want to, but the big thing he's going to do tonight is pick up where the BC Lions started it last week and going to try to go after quarterback Tom Clements. Now, they will do it in a little bit of different fashion. What they will try to do is mix up the blocking of, say, now tonight, Winnipeg. But last week, Eddie Lowe would come outside and eat the block of the halfback, which allows number 29, Fran McDermott, to come and get a real good shot on quarterback Rick Johnson. Now, no quarterback likes to take these kind of hits. When he doesn't see it coming, he's in trouble, and that means trouble for Tom Clements, the quarterback of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The big work this week, and the biggest thing the Bombers have to do, is to keep quarterback Tom Clements on his feet.
Offensive line blocking undoubtedly then was a priority of Winnipeg's preparation for this game.
All week, every practice.
And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers tonight had better be prepared for a slot back who likes to be in motion when he hits that line of scrimmage, Saskatchewan's Ray Elgard.
Well, I'll say, and he's 6'3" and 225 pounds, and he's a great target across the middle, and when he does catch the football, he can run over those small 170-pound defensive backs. So offensively, Elgard has got to be dealt with. This man with the green shoes now, Nick Hebler, playing his first game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, traded in the orange ones, said he likes the green ones better. Talking to him before the game, he said he's actually nervous, and you would think an 8-year veteran would never be nervous. It's just another game, but he said he's a little edgy.
All fired up and ready to play, and with those green shoes, Hebner looks like the world's biggest leprechaun.
Well, you tell him that, though.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a couple of key people as well. Let's talk about them.
Well, they have to get their running back, Willard Reeves, number 38, involved in the offense. Last week, he only had 44 yards rushing, but they've got to get him running the football, and they have got to get him able for how Tom Clements play-action pass by faking to him. He's got to be a bigger factor in the offense than he was against the BC Lions. Newcomer James West, and I say newcomer because he's now an inside linebacker. His whole career, he had been an outside linebacker. All of a sudden, he comes to Winnipeg. They move him inside. Now, it doesn't sound like a big move to people at home, but when you get on the inside, there's a heck of a lot more action in there. But, you know, he's a very, very tough, punishing tackler, but he's got great speed. So he adds to a strength, and he'll just strengthen that defense down.
Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have not lost at home to Saskatchewan for 4 years. They hope that trend continues tonight, and they're also hoping that Trevor Kennard will get the 3 points to hit the 1,000-point total, and that Willard Reeves will run for 2 yards to make 4,000 yards. And David Shaw, who was injured against BC, will be back at his customary cornerback position tonight against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Something of a miraculous recovery for the veteran David Shaw. We'll be back with the opening kickoff, Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, here at Winnipeg Stadium. But right now, let's go to CFL Control, and here's Brian Williams.
Thank you, Don. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to CFL Control in Toronto as we wrap up the second week of this 1986 season. We take a look at the conference standings beginning in the West. Winnipeg with a win tonight, trying to move into a tie with Saskatchewan and BC. Of course, the Riders can move into a first-place tie with Edmonton. In the Eastern Conference, it is Toronto and the Ottawa Roughriders all tied up for first place. Toronto winning last night at the Olympic Stadium, Ottawa winning Thursday in Hamilton. Now, coming up on a busy halftime show, Doug Mitchell, the commissioner, joins me in the studio. We'll have highlights from Toronto's win last night in Montreal. Martina Navratilova winning today at Wimbledon. Her 7th win, 5 straight. We'll show you highlights. We will also have a national news update. In baseball today, Tim Wallach with 2 home runs. The Expos winning in Atlanta. Mets play tonight. Blue Jays won today in Toronto. And the Boston Red Sox were defeated today by Seattle. Stay with us. The opening kickoff is up next as CFL 86 continues.
G'day. Canada sure is a sporting nation. This one's my favourite over here. Rap dancing. Of course, back home, our favourite sport is shark wrestling.
Shark wrestling?
Nothing better than sitting down to a few rounds of man versus hungry white pointer. With a drop of the amber nectar, Foster's.
White pointer?
Yeah. Of course, the hard part is getting the sharks into those tight little wrestling shorts.
Foster's, now brewed here.
Welcome back to CFL Control in Toronto. Before going to Winnipeg, let me remind you, check local listings tomorrow for exclusive same-day coverage of the French Grand Prix. Ayrton Senna has the pole. He is looking for his 3rd straight win. Also on the front row, Nigel Mansell. The French Grand Prix tomorrow. A busy halftime show coming up. Right now, let's go to Winnipeg for the opening kickoff.
Hi again, everybody. It's a warm, sunny evening, a temperature of 20 degrees. The wind could be a factor, as it so often is here at Winnipeg Stadium. The weather's certainly better than it was earlier today. It was warm, humid, and raining this morning. Bill McDonald is the referee, and the other members of his officiating staff, Dave Ewell, Vern Heath, Art McAvoy, Wayne Shorten, and Bud Steen. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be kicking off to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Tony Staten and Jeff Patterson are back for this kickoff. It will be taken by Jeff Patterson at the 20-yard line, and Patterson gets out to the 35-yard line. Ken Haley is in there to make the tackle. Richard Nemeth also had a hand in that stop for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as Joe Paupow leads the Saskatchewan offense onto the field after that 18-yard return by Patterson.
Well, we talked about Bobby Johnson. He's also got David Conrad from ex-Acadia Axeman in there. Jeff Patterson took the kickoff. Tony Dennis gets his opportunity to start in the slot. Veteran offensive line, except for Mike Anderson, has replaced Willie Thomas, who was traded. But all in all, they were all there last year.
Ferdinand on the opening carry puts his head down and drives up to the 39.5-yard line. They were slated to start Conrad in there, and they came with Denny Ferdinand.
Well, I guess Conrad and Ferdinand do alternate, and it really doesn't matter, but they're going to have their hands full with these guys. We saw them last week. No changes in that lineup at all. 4 excellent linebackers, the heart of the Winnipeg defense. And in the secondary, Roy Bennett on the corner, 2nd year, but he is a good one.
2nd and 5. Paupow throwing over the middle, looking for Ray Elgard. It's incomplete. Patterson was back defending. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders will be forced to kick it away as they fail to move the ball on their first offensive series.
We got an underneath. We have Tony Dennis coming under it, and Elgard just tries to come into the middle behind it. Ball, boy, you hate to see this if you're a Saskatchewan fan. Get that back hand on it, and you tip it up in the air. It's usually intercepted.
McGrath's 3rd down punt It's a short kick taken by Scott Flagel at the 45-yard line. Winnipeg had 3 punt returners back, and that wind restricted that boot of Jerry McGrath to 27 yards. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with some final instructions being issued to quarterback Tom Clements, have excellent field position for their first offensive series.
And one change, they're going to start Pat Cantner tonight at the fullback spot instead of Sean Kehoe, but as Cal said, no big deal. Same offense as last week with the receivers and the offensive line. They've get a lot of heat this week in practice. The big job's on them tonight.
Well, Coach Murphy was not enamored with the work of his blocking backs in picking up some of that British Columbia blitz a week ago. We'll tell you more about that a little later. There's the pass over the middle, and Jerome Erdman is stopped near the midfield stripe. That will be a gain of about 6 yards. Eddie Lowe was in to make the tackle. Gary Moten, the ex-Blue Bomber, wearing number 58, also assisted on that stop.
Well, defensively, this is a pretty good defensive line. James Walker, they acquired from Calgary. Rick Gulch was there, then Hebler, and then Gary Lewis. Linebackers, okay. Defensive secondary, 2 young guys on the corners, Trent Bryant and Mike Magruder. I look for Winnipeg to test them, Don.
2nd and 4, the pitch to Willard Reeves. He gets the first down to the 50-yard line. Gary Moten tripped up the Winnipeg running back, and that will put Reeves over 4,000 yards for his CFL career. Jackson is the injured Saskatchewan player, a product of Mississippi State, signed by the Green and White as a free agent. They refer to him as the Hitman. As a matter of fact, that's his nickname, and he last year certainly dished out some punishing tackles. They are concerned, obviously, with his right arm.
Well, he's 6 foot. He's only 6 foot tall, but he's 230 pounds, and you get that big a man moving forward and a ball carrier coming at him, that makes for a pretty good collision. Ivan Gutfriend out there working on Billy Jackson, the trainer with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Take a look, see just what happens if we get the opportunity. Number 45 is coming through.
It appears as though Willard Reeves may have stepped on his arm as Reeves came driving through that hole for a 6-yard gain. And Jackson will head off to the Saskatchewan bench and will be replaced by Mark Nelson. It's interesting that the Saskatchewan Roughriders have 3 players in their lineup who are the sons of former CFL performers. Mark Nelson, who will be coming in, the son of Roger Nelson. And then, of course, with Saskatchewan, you have Mark Ernest, who is the son of Ted Ernest, a former teammate of yours. And Mike Anderson, playing that center spot, is the son of Paul Anderson, who played with Saskatchewan 53 to 58.
Yeah, Mike got the opportunity to start at that center position when Willie Thomas was traded, and they kind of hated to trade Thomas. They really liked him, but they got Hebler for him, you know, so they had to do it.
Willard Reeves, and Reeves struggles for about 1.5 yards. Talking about sons of former professional players in the CFL, Randy Faby of Winnipeg is the son of Martin Faby, who played with Saskatchewan.
Another teammate of mine.
So football runs in the family. How are your sons making out? Your number 1 son, I know, is coaching now.
And loves every minute of it, and the other one's still messing around playing, huh? I don't know. I just hope they grow up and are happy.
I had a visit with your number 1 son, Ronnie, following the game in Hamilton the other night. He's working at McMaster as an assistant coach. Pass complete, and Tuttle down the sidelines, goes out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
Well, that's the guy you talked about, Don. He is an exciting newcomer, and the players seem to like the way he has fit in with them. They think he's a nice guy, but the main thing is they like the way he catches the football, and it wasn't anything complicated. He just went down, turn in, catch the ball, and run. I always say the offside call, but it's against Saskatchewan, but Tom just goes down, throws it in the hole, and then Tuttle's job to come back and get it. A little bit high, but a good adjustment by the receiver.
James Walker was the man who was offside, but the Winnipeg Blue Bombers take the gain. 22 yards by number 22. There's that hit screen to James Murphy with a couple of blocks. 27 yards for the touchdown for James Murphy as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers hit on 2 quick plays, 22 yards to Tuttle And then the other wide receiver, Murphy, taking it into the end zone.
They caught Saskatchewan by surprise. The guy missing a tackle over here, number 29, and went down is Fran McDermott, who usually plays the other side of the field. And they came out and he went on a quick count with 4 receivers to that side. Saskatchewan was in man coverage. McDermott couldn't get over there.
Trevor Kennard with the point after. He now is just 2 away from that 1,000 career point total. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are in front by 7, and we'll be back with the Winnipeg kickoff right after this.
Esso, and only Esso, is first with a remarkable breakthrough. A new gasoline that cleans as you drive. A new gasoline that cleans dirty carburetors and foul fuel injectors. A new gasoline available in all grades. Esso and only Esso has the no-trouble gasoline in all our pumps.
James Murphy, a product of Utah State, rather boldly predicted today that he would score 3 touchdowns. It appeared in print, and he has 1, and it didn't take long to get that first major.
Well, in the first offensive series, if you get 1, at least it brings it down. I think it's pretty bold to ever say you're going to score 3 at the best of times.
Staten and Patterson are back. 11:28 remaining in this opening quarter as Trevor Kennard prepares to kick off. When Trevor Kennard does hit that 1,000-point mark, it will be the fastest of any player in CFL history to hit the 1,000-point plateau. And of course, Trevor Kennard last year established a CFL single-season scoring record. Good kickoff that sails a bit to Patterson from the 15-yard line. And Patterson gets it back to the 34. Sampson was the first downfield to make the tackle on Jeff Patterson. Pat Cantner also assisted in the stop on the former Montreal Concorde. A 20-yard run back for Jeff Patterson after that 61-yard kickoff by Trevor Kennard.
It's going to be interesting to see now what Saskatchewan can do. They seem to be going against the wind, although it seems to be a crosswind.
Last year at Winnipeg Stadium, the Blue Bombers blasted the Roughriders by a score of 49-3. A blitz, and the pass complete for a very close to a first down to Tony Dennis. He was taken out of bounds by Ken Haley. It appears as though it's about 2, maybe 3 yards short.
They did try to go after him pretty early. They sent a couple linebackers in there, but Popow had that out pattern called to that inside receiver. That's a tough pattern to cover. Pat Cantner, you just saw on the bench, was limping coming off the field after that tackle on the special teams. You know he doesn't want to get hurt. He's finally got his opportunity to start.
Danny Ferdinand drives straight up the middle for a first down as he gets to the 46-yard line. Tony Norman was there to make the stop for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And Denny Ferdinand, who had one of his better games in his CFL career right here at Winnipeg Stadium as a member of the Montreal Concords, would like to duplicate that performance tonight. He's carried twice now for 10 yards. Elgard lining up, started that movement to the line of scrimmage, then put on the brakes. They try and screen to him, but a good play by Scott Flagel, as Flagel read that perfectly. Elgard lines up about 10 yards deep and likes to take that running start to the line of scrimmage. That time he stopped and they tried to screen to him, but Flagel was ready.
That's just heads-up play. You know, there really is no tip-off to that, is that you can't read it pre-snap, so that's just a good, excellent defensive play by Scott Flagel, who's an excellent athlete and an all-star safety man. That's why.
A loss of 4. The Roughriders operating from that shotgun formation. This is a little different look for the Roughriders, the way those receivers were lined up. The pass to Elgard. First down, tackled by Haley at the 45 of Winnipeg.
Well, we said in the opening, 6'3", 225 pounds, going across the middle. He's a big, big target. You can't help but see him.
In just 4 years, Ray Elgard now 2,000 career passing yards.
You'll see him coming from right to left, right in the middle. Makes the catch. Got him down, 2 of them. Big first down, though.
Again, that same formation, the same look. This time, they swing it out to Bobby Johnson. Good block in the sidelines. He was tripped up by Tyrone Jones, but there's a flag on the play. Not sure who it was that came out there to throw a key block for Saskatchewan.
Well, they had two offensive linemen out there along with Jeff Patterson, the wide receiver, but they have gone to splitting those slot backs real wide, trying to get a quick read and throw the ball outside away from where Scott Flagel goes.
Maybe one of the reasons it looked like such a good block, it was a clip, apparently, against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Clipping, number 68 Saskatchewan, first down over.
Laurie Skalrud guilty of that clipping call for the third straight play. The Roughriders provide the same look offensively, the same type of formation. Pow over the middle, intercepted by James West. And West goes down at the 46. Intended, I believe, for Jeff Patterson, and James West, the man you referred to at the start of the telecast, makes a big interception for Winnipeg.
Well, it doesn't matter whether you're an inside backer or an outside backer. You're in pass coverage, and you see him right underneath. I don't think Joe Pow should have thrown that football because the open man was West, and we didn't say he couldn't catch just because he moved inside.
Tony Dennis, not James Patterson or Jeff Patterson, appeared to be the man that Pow was attempting to throw to. And Willard Reeves now runs into Nick Hebler and Gary Moten at the 50-yard line. He picked up about 3 yards. I talked at the start about one of the concerns of the Winnipeg coaching staff. They felt that their backs were tipping off the play last week against BC.
Yeah, I was interested in listening to the conversation. I didn't quite understand all of it because you'd have to be able to study films and things to see it. But I know one thing they didn't do. They didn't block for one another last week.
2nd and 7 from the 50. Movement at the line of scrimmage. This could be a free one. Tuttle, the intended receiver, it's incomplete. It looked as though Hebler, playing that left defensive end position, may have jumped prior to the ball being snapped. The offside indication from referee Bill McDonald. Winnipeg in front by a score of 7-0 with 7:54 remaining in this opening quarter.
We said they had to get Willard Reeves involved in that offense.
Offside, Saskatchewan 99, 2nd down over.
And sure enough, they've run him a couple times. They've got him out of there on passes, but he has got to be more of a factor. He just wasn't in the game last week.
On 2nd down and 2, Willard Reeves will be very close to that first down. He attempted to follow the blocking of Lyle Bauer and Chris Walby, and it may require a measurement depending upon where they place it, but the indication from the field is that it is a first down Winnipeg. Willard Reeves, prior to the start of the season, boldly predicted that he would run for 1,800 yards this year. He said that was his goal, and with the addition of 2 games to the CFL schedule, it certainly is possible he could and has the talent to run for 100 yards per game.
Yeah, sounds easy.
Tom Clements throwing the pass for Joe Poplawski at the 48-yard line. Taken out of bounds by Eddie Ray Walker, and there's also a penalty flag. I think it's going to be a roughing call against Saskatchewan.
What we want to look at is we said they have to protect Clements. They bring the backs this way, and then Tom will wheel and come back. But watch right in here. You will not see one white jersey show up. That's what they've got to do. Keep him on his feet. Look at all the time he has. He's just does anything he wants to, and when you get time, Poplawski can get open.
Well, Poplawski in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' first game against BC almost appeared to be the forgotten man in the passing attack. Late in the game, he came up with a couple of key receptions, but the BC Lions were doing an outstanding job of defending against him.
Well, he's had 8 or 9 good years. You know, you got to stop him.
With the penalty of first down Winnipeg, Clements throwing over the middle to Poplawski. He'll have a gain of 8 at the 25-yard line. Gary Moten was there on the stop along with Eddie Lowe. Billy Jackson hurt again on the play and heading off to the sidelines.
Watch the time once again. No white jerseys. He steps up in the pocket, bang, his own defense. And again, Poplawski will find the seams, or the holes in the zone, whatever you want to call them.
2nd and 3, Winnipeg. The fake to Reeves, the pass to Pat Cantner. He made a valiant attempt to dive for it, but couldn't grab it. Mark Nelson, who had replaced Billy Jackson, was over defending against Pat Cantner.
Tom's not too happy with himself. You know, he only needed the 3 yards, and if he hits Cantner with the football, they have the first down, and as a result, they get Cantner the opportunity to kick the field goal, but I know they wanted 6.
And if Trevor Kennard is successful, he will go over the 1,000-point total for his CFL career. This kick will come from 32 yards away. It's good, and Trevor Kennard has a niche in the CFL record book as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers move in front by 10 with 5:44 remaining in this opening quarter. Well, they talk about football being a big man's game. The little man, Trevor Kennard, has certainly made a major contribution to the success of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers since coming to the club out of the University of Alberta.
Boy, he sure has. You know, it's amazing with his size. You know, he really isn't very big, but he runs with the football on fakes, and he can throw the football because he was a quarterback, and well, everybody knows he can kick it.
He loves carrying that football on that fake field goal attempt where they give the ball to him. They've done it a couple of times down on the goal line, and he likes to carry that ball, although I don't think the coaching staff likes to see him run with it too often.
Neither do I.
Staten had difficulty picking it up, and he's going to be dropped back at the 18-yard line. They flip-flopped the 2 kickoff return people, Staten and Patterson, and Roy Bennett was down there to make the tackle. Staten had a great deal of difficulty trying to field that Trevor Kennard kick.
Wasn't anything complicated. It was just a nice, easy kick. He just couldn't handle it. He's lucky to get it back.
Not good field position for Saskatchewan. 1st and 10 with 5:26 remaining in this opening quarter from the 18-yard line. Pow going to the sidelines to Johnson. He's forced out of bounds by Ken Haley. Bobby Johnson, a brother of Ron Johnson, who played with the Hamilton Tiger Cats a few years back. And it was Ron who really recommended to Bobby that he play in the Canadian Football League. Now, what is going on there, Coach?
I'll tell you what, you're supposed to get loose before the game, not during, but he's just stretching the groins and the hamstrings, get those things loose. He feels he's going to get some work, so he might as well get loose.
He didn't ask Chris Walby to crawl up on top of him.
I don't blame him.
Denny Ferdinand trying to get that first down after the pass completion for 6 to Johnson. He's going to be stopped short, and almost certainly the Saskatchewan punting unit will come in there.
I was interested in the article in the paper on Johnson today, and as you say, his brother Ron recommended he come up here, and he was concerned as being a running back that he might never get the run, but he said he likes to catch passes, and he found out last week that if you get a running game going, they'll give him the football, and he got, what, 25 carries.
And, of course, with Johnson coming to the Roughriders for a tryout last year and then looking so good during the preseason this year, they were able to make the deal with the Toronto Argonauts, acquiring Nick Hebler and giving up Craig Ellis.
That's a pretty good trade for both clubs. They're going to both benefit from it.
Kevin Neal's fielding McGrath's 3rd down kick, and he is stopped at the 50-yard line. A 44-yard punt by Jerry McGrath, and for Kevin Neal's, a return of 10 before being tackled by Gary Moten. We'll be back right after this. I'm Don Whitman along with Ron Lancaster at Winnipeg Stadium. A beautiful, warm, sunny Saturday evening, this 5th of July. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers enjoying what has transpired so far as they lead it 10-0. Tom Clements holding a hot hand.
Just looking at him right here, he's a little anxious to get going. You know, sometimes when you have things going your way, these timeouts that take place during a football game, quarterbacks get a little bit antsy when things are going their way. Although I don't know, you really can never tell with Clements.
I know one thing. He didn't use that razor this morning.
He never does. He's amazing. He never shaves. I think it grows in by 1, though. He's one of those guys with that 5 o'clock shadow at 11 in the morning.
Staten, one of the newcomers to the Saskatchewan Roughriders this year. A defensive back. Movement at the line of scrimmage as the handoff goes to Pat Kantner. It appeared as though 2 Saskatchewan players, Goltz and Lewis, both moved, and that's the indication from referee Bill McDonald.
Well, they better quit listening to the cadence of Tom Clements, and they're taught, defensive linemen are taught to watch the football, but when you raise the voice at all, sometimes they have a tendency to jump, and right now that's twice.
So it will be 1st and 5, Winnipeg, from the midfield stripe as Hamlet comes into the ball game and Richard Nemeth comes out for Winnipeg. Hamlet, a versatile offensive lineman. He can play all the positions, including center. They counter with Willard Reeves. He'll be stopped about a yard short of a first down by James Walker. That was an interesting acquisition for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. James Walker, who last year was voted by the Calgary coaches as their best defensive lineman.
Well, we had the opportunity to see him play, and I would have to agree with the way they voted. I thought he was their outstanding player last year, and, you know, he's not old. He's a fairly young guy. You know, he has only been in the league 3 years, so it certainly wasn't age that lost him his job.
On 2nd down, no way for Pat Kantner as Nick Hebler got through to make the initial contact. Nick Hebler, who joined the Toronto Argonauts in an off-season trade, played with them in the preseason, then was dealt to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And he indicated that he was a little nervous coming into this ball game, and his roommate Rick Goltz, and a former teammate of Hebler's with British Columbia, indicated that he had never seen his former buddy quite so antsy.
Well, you know, when you're traded, you get ready.
Again, movement at the line of scrimmage, but Willard Reeves has the first down on a 3rd down gamble, 3rd and about 1.
Well, I think they jumped again, I really think.
I think that time it was Eddie Lowe who jumped.
Right at the point of attack, too. So when he jumped and then jumps back, he has no forward momentum, and it just so happened that's where the Bombers were going.
Offside, Saskatchewan 42, first down.
Bill McDonald confirms that it was Eddie Lowe, the linebacker, who jumped prior to the ball being snapped, and with 2:58 remaining in this opening quarter, Winnipeg with a first down at the 46. Saskatchewan penalized 6 times, 6 costly penalties for 45 yards. This is going to be a pitch to James Murphy, the extension, with Willard Reeves taking the toss from Clements, and then Reeves flipping the ball out to James Murphy, but Saskatchewan was ready.
That was a kind of unique thing. This is Willard Reeves. We're going to take a look at this. This is a new wrinkle. I didn't think they'd have anything today. Willard Reeves lines up here, and then he comes right here. He gets the ball from Clements, and now what he wants to do is have his speedster, James Murphy, right here, and try to get at him outside. All right, the handoff, and now he's looking. Well, he sure pitched it early. I thought he might carry it a little further. Really wasn't too successful. They lost a yard. Eddie Ray Walker made it hit.
From the moment he got the ball from Clements, it looked as though he was going to pitch that ball to Murphy, and Hebler obviously read it. The pass over the middle to Tuttle, and Tuttle will be close to a first down.
You know what I liked about that play? Clements got outside. He was running to his left and threw back into the middle, which is a no-no and hard to do. But I say he was throwing to Poplawski. But the big thing about a receiver is when the ball's in the air, go get it, and that's what Tuttle did. He took it right away from his own teammate.
And he produces a first down for Winnipeg with 1:50 remaining in this opening quarter.
Well, let's see if we can see Tuttle come into the picture. Tom gets outside clean, but it's very hard. Watch him have to turn to throw this ball. That's hard to do. And watch Tuttle. I thought he was throwing to Joe, but maybe he saw Tuttle. You know, he sees about everything down there.
Clements has hit on 6 of 7 for 79 yards. Billy Jackson back into the ball game. A first down play as Clements hits Poplawski for a first down at the 15-yard line.
Well,
21 yards to Poplawski.
We said they were going to blitz. Now, they didn't safety blitz, but they bring both linebackers on it. And Joe just goes down and comes in here, and there's no one in the area. Watch. No linebacker there to help the defensive back. You're in trouble. Look at all the room. Nobody there. You should complete that one, and they did.
Jerome Erdman goes to the bench. Randy Faby is in the lineup now for the Blue Bombers as they are threatening to score again. 1st and 10 from the 15 of Saskatchewan. We're into the final minute of this opening quarter. Clemens quickly inside. Poplawski will score.
You know what's funny about that, Don? A veteran quarterback like Tom Clements knows one thing. Get the ball from your hand to the receiver's hand as quick as possible. Watch it. He stands up, throw it. Nice and easy. Poplawski scores, goes about 15, 18 yards with it, nothing to it. You don't have to throw the ball downfield very far. Get it to him and let that guy do the work, and that's what Tom did.
And the point after by Trevor Kennard makes it a 17-0 lead. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers ahead of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Joe Poplawski with his first touchdown of 1986. Joe Poplawski came to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, some may forget, compensation for Tommy Scott when Scott signed with the Edmonton Eskimos. And Joe Poplawski, since coming to Winnipeg, has twice been a winner of a Shenley Award. Twice he's also been a runner-up.
And I remember when that trade was made, and at the time I don't think anybody had ever heard of Joe Poplawski. And as it worked out, everybody felt, boy, that's a steal that Tommy Scott goes to Edmonton. They get a guy named Poplawski, so what? But as it's worked out for Winnipeg, somebody knew what they were doing.
Trevor Kennard preparing to kick off again. And again, the Saskatchewan Roughriders send Staten to the right side, and they have Jeff Patterson to the left side on their kickoff return. The ball will go to Staten again. This time he handles it cleanly. Fumbles it. Gets it back. He was stopped there by Scott Flagel. They said he handled it cleanly, but when contacted, he fumbled it, and I don't imagine Jack Goda was particularly happy with that.
No, I wouldn't think so. You know, that's 2 times now. The last 2 times he's touched the ball in the kickoff, he's failed to hold on to it.
The 41st head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders signed on December 13th, 1984. A record of 5-11 last year. A disappointing year for both Goda and Saskatchewan. Jeff Patterson down on one knee. Ivan Gutfriend is coming out to tend to his hurts, and you suggested this might be a physical game. So far, most of the licks have been applied by Winnipeg.
Boy, it's a little bit surprising to me. I have a feeling that this game's going to heat up quite a bit in the next little while. There's been a running feud going on in the papers the last few days down here between Aldag and Tyrone Jones. You know, and I can't believe Aldag. I've never heard him talk hardly at all. They just don't seem to like one another.
I think there are a few offensive linemen who don't send Christmas cards to Tyrone Jones. Johnson, the ball carrier. Ken Haley and Stan Mikowas over to make the tackle. Cal Murphy, the Winnipeg head coach, twice CFL Coach of the Year. Quite relaxed prior to the football game today.
Boy, he sure was. I sat in and had a long talk with him, and then you come in there, and we just sat there, and you'd have never known they were playing tonight.
Patterson goes out, Holmes is in. James West was blitzing, and he was moving ahead of the ball being snapped. Intercepted by Tyrone Jones, but I think the Roughriders are going to retain possession because James West blitzing from his linebacking position appeared to be across that line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped.
Well, he tried to hit it right on the head and get right in there as that ball was snapped, and that pass hung out in the flat. Tyrone Jones isn't going to be too happy to take away his interception.
Penalty is against Saskatchewan.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 44. Offside, Winnipeg. 2nd down over.
A holding call against Aldag and the offside by James West. So it's second down over, 2nd and 13 now.
10 yards for the holding, 5 yards for offside, so Saskatchewan loses 5 yards.
And this should be the final play of the opening quarter with Winnipeg in front 17-0.
David Shaw ran in there to have a discussion with the officials. I don't really know what they're talking about, but we'll see here. Well, whatever it was, he was wrong, because the referees changed nothing.
Well, David Shaw is always willing to share his counsel with the officials, but usually they see no need for unsolicited advice. Stan Mikowas moved that time prior to the ball being snapped, and there are flags all over the field.
I see 4 out there. 4 flags.
It's not bad. 4 out of 6 throwing a flag on the play.
The other 2 couldn't find theirs.
Rob Prodanovic has come into the ball game for Stan Mikowas.
Outside. Winnipeg, number 75. 2nd down.
I don't think Cal Murphy will be pleased with that. Coaches usually frown on undisciplined moves such as that.
I don't know what's going on. There's something strange because both teams are jumping, you know, and let's take a look, see if somebody's moving around or something.
No flag so far. The pass knocked away. Roy Bennett deflected it from Greg Holmes, and that should be the final play of the opening quarter. It is, as we hear the gun, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers comfortably in front, 17-0.
Good night.
Touchdowns by Joe Poplawski and James Murphy. Winnipeg leading by a score of 17-0. And Ron, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who lost their season opener, look very sharp tonight.
Well, they've got that offense moving, and we said they had to give Tom Clements protection and keep him on his feet. And so far, he has had no pressure when he's thrown the football, and you can't give him that much time. But that's the way it goes. And as much as they worked on that pass protection, that's what Cal Murphy's happy about. He loves it.
Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had the wind at their backs to start the football game, and the weather forecast indicated that the wind would subside, and indeed it has as we prepare to start the second quarter, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders will have the favoring wind. Winnipeg with 130 total yards as opposed to 44 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders through the first 15 minutes, and the Roughriders now kicking on 3rd and 8 as McGrath stands back at the 16-yard line. Sampson, Nealis, and Flegel, 3 of them back for Winnipeg. Nealis takes it at the 35-yard line, and he is tripped up by Staten, the first man through, to pull the feet out from under the Winnipeg punt returner. A 55-yard kick that time by Jerry McGrath, a 1-yard run back by Kevin Nealis.
While we have a minute, we'd like to remind you this program is copyrighted and is strictly for the use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited. I never did learn how to read, you know that?
One of the problems you have had, one of the problems Tom Clements has had, is missing on 1 pass so far tonight. Harry Tuttle takes that screen, penalty flag on the play. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. Trent Bryant was one of the Saskatchewan people in on the tackle, and it's a holding call against Saskatchewan. Well, let's rectify that. Winnipeg.
Yeah. I was going to say that one's a hard one to get defensive holding on.
Sean Kehoe comes into the ball game. Pat Kantner comes out for Winnipeg. And the yardage will be marched off. Back to the 21, 26.
Holding. Winnipeg number 29. First down, over.
Jerome Erdman, the slot back, was the man fingered for the holding violation over on the far side of the field. Clements on second down, looking to the sidelines. He finds James Murphy, but he was out of bounds.
I really think he was trying to set up a screen pass to Willard Reeves, and they had Willard Reeves under control, and then he saw Murphy and threw it out of bounds, which is a wise move.
We talked about Jeff Boyd playing out his option and the fact that Perry Tuttle is replacing him in the Winnipeg offensive scheme at that wideout position. James Murphy had also played out his option, but the Blue Bombers were successful in negotiating a new contract with him. And what a season opener he had against BC, 13 receptions.
Not a bad night for anybody.
Hand off to Willard Reeves. Penalty flag as Willard Reeves dives out to the 34-yard line. I believe the call is going to go against Winnipeg again. It could be a holding infraction.
Don, does that mean that with Boyd leaving the Blue Bombers, they had to bring in 17 guys to try to take one spot? If Murphy had gone, it would have been 34?
They had a lot of wide receivers at training camp in an attempt to find a replacement for Boyd.
Holding. Number 50, Winnipeg, decline. Third down.
Center Mark Moores is the man who was called for holding. He's an Acadia product who played with Calgary prior to coming to Winnipeg.
Talking more about those receivers, I thought it was funny. We said Trevor Kennard was a quarterback. Bobby Cameron was also a quarterback in college. They had so many receivers in camp, they had to use them to get them enough work. They had to have them thrown to the receivers. That's a lot of people.
And I think they had 6 regular quarterbacks in camp in addition to Trevor Kennard and Bob Cameron. Yes, in his college days, Bob Cameron was a quarterback. Now he concentrates on punting the ball, and he's one of the best in the CFL. Staten takes it at the 43-yard line, fumbles the football. Winnipeg. Pat Kantner had it. Then he lost it. Now who got it back? Winnipeg gets it. Vernon Paul was the man who came up with that football after that 34-yard kick by Bob Cameron. So with 13-13 remaining in this first half, Winnipeg offense will stay on the field.
A great name in beer should be the start of a truly great tasting light beer. But it took more than heritage and taste. It took time to get it just right. Now it's here, introducing OV Light. With the great OV taste you'd expect from a fine brewing tradition. New OV Light. A great taste in beer comes to light.
Well, Tony Staten's having a rough night tonight. It seems like every time he touches the football, he's dropped it. That's 3 straight times he's handled it, 3 times he's put it on the ground. And as we were talking about here during the commercial, he was slated to start at that defensive halfback spot, but number 2, Eddie Ray Walker's been in there, and if he drops one more, he might not be back for the second half.
John Bonk, the veteran center who was forced to retire as the result of a neck injury, down on the sidelines, and he is doing some work for the Winnipeg radio broadcast and also involved in his television show here in Winnipeg that is seen in many parts of the country. Body Talk, the name of it, on the CBC television network. Good hold for Willard Reeves. First down as he gets to the 34 of Saskatchewan.
Well, you wondered sometimes that Cal Murphy wasn't happy with his backs, but watch number 33, Pat Kantner, right here that opens the seam. Watch the block. They're going to put him right on his back. Bang. Excellent block. Reeves broke it for big yardage.
Winnipeg in that hurry-up offense with Perry Tuttle on the receiving end of that throw from Tom Clements. He appeared to get some of that turf flipped up in his face, and Winnipeg continuing to run without a huddle. 2nd and 3 as the ball is at the 27-yard line. Willard Reeves again. He'll get the first down. This is something that Winnipeg did in the preseason. Early in the game, in the first quarter, and again in the third, they were running that hurry-up offense. Cal Murphy likes that style of attack.
Well, you know, most teams signal in their defenses, and if you get it on first down and then you go to the hurry-up offense, you're probably going to get the same defense twice in a row.
And, of course, Tom Clements has the ability to read the defenses that he is facing. Clements throwing into the end zone. Poplawski, touchdown! But there is a flag on the play. Touchdown as the interference call against Saskatchewan is declined.
It was a great catch, but watch the protection. We talked about it early, and a quarterback drops back to throw. This is no man's land. Nobody should come in there and bother the quarterback. Watch Tom Clements. He takes his drop. Now he steps straight up. Look how much room he's got. And that's the result. Great throw, excellent catch.
Poplawski's second touchdown of the game, and Trevor Kennard will attempt to make it a 24-0 game, and he is successful. In just 4 plays, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers went 50 yards for the major score following the fumble by Tony Staton.
Well, we talk about blocking. Quarterbacks like this. Look, he takes his 9-yard drop. Now he steps up into the pocket. Nothing in his way. Can't throw it any better. Glenn Suter misjudged it right over his head into Poplawski's hands.
Way to go, Willard. That 83 pounds. Way to go,
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers again preparing to kick off, and Staton has now been removed from that kickoff return unit, going back there for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Michael Alarms along with Jeff Patterson. Patterson will take it at the 20-yard line. And Patterson is stopped at the 38 by Delbert Fowler. A kickoff of 55 by Trevor Kennard, and a return of 18 by Patterson with 11:35 remaining in the half. A half that has been all Winnipeg.
Well, it sure has. The only time that Saskatchewan showed anything at all is when they hit Elgard across the middle, and then he promptly threw an interception to West, and that's been their total so far. You know, Jeff Patterson was a kick returner last year with Montreal. He's a pretty good football player, and he's only 170 pounds.
Powell doesn't get a chance to throw as Patterson was blitzing from his linebacking position. Winnipeg very strong at that linebacking position. I think that's definitely the strength of their defense with Patterson, Fowler, West, and Tyrone Jones.
Well, we talked about that last week in BC, Don. You know, when they got Delbert Fowler back this year, and he had such a great year 2 years ago before he went and played out his option, boy, that is as solid a linebacking crew as you can ask for.
2nd and 19 from that shotgun formation. Powell throwing for Dennis. He's got him. But he could not hang on. He was hit by Scott Flagel and was unable to hang on to the football. They rule it an incomplete pass.
Well, Joe looks to his right now, comes back, and he's got the receiver in the middle. Watch this. It looks like to me it was a catch, and then the ball comes loose, but Scott Flagel will hit you. That's excellent hitting. Look, get that shoulder down, just flip him over. The referee must have figured he never did have possession of it, must have been juggling it. Anyway, he was quick to rule it incomplete. That forces another punt.
Jerry McGrath back to punt. Don't be surprised if Winnipeg tries and go after it. No, they set up the return. Nealis at the 35-yard line. Sampson trying to throw a block. He gets one man, and Nealis fights for some additional yardage out to the 48. Kick of 45 yards by Jerry McGrath, and a run back by Kevin Nealis of 13 yards. And Winnipeg will scrimmage 1st and 10 from their own 48 when we return. The Nikon one-touch. Nice touch by Tom Clements, throwing to Perry Tuttle at the midfield stripe. A gain of 7. Trent Bryant, the rookie cornerback, was the man who came in to make the tackle on Perry Tuttle. Tuttle was a teammate of Homer Jordan at Clemson. Another teammate, Lester Brown, who is with the Ottawa Roughriders at Clemson. But Jordan and Tuttle were together on that Clemson championship team.
Boy, they sure were. Quarterback and receiver.
Willard Reeves bursting for the first down out to the 48-yard line, stopped by Gary Lewis.
First down, Tom Clements just stands up and takes a nice, easy pass to Murphy. Second down, they blow it open for Reeves. They better dam the gates, you know, the dam, because they're going to be in trouble.
9 carries for 49 yards. Reeves gets it again, this time nowhere to go. Gary Lewis was the man in on the tackle. James Walker also assisted in bringing down Willard Reeves. The Rough Riders going with that 4-man front. Walker and Heffer on the ends, Rick Goltz and Gary Lewis inside. The linebackers Eddie Lowe, Gary Moten, and Billy Jackson. 8:27 is the time left in the first half. Winnipeg leading 24-0. Seemed to be a little confusion in that Winnipeg backfield. The pass to James Murphy, and Murphy trying to get outside. He is stopped by Mike Magruder. 13 yards the gain to James Murphy.
Well, they want to blitz Tom Clements, but when you're getting rid of the ball on 5-yard patterns, you're going to have a very hard time sacking a quarterback, because that ball's gone in about 3 steps and it's out of his hands, and that's what he's so good at, getting rid of it in a hurry.
It'll be snapped on 2, signals Tom Clements, as Sean Kehoe replaces Pat Cantner. Sidelines, James Murphy. That'll be close to another first down.
Well, it was only going to be a matter of time until Tom decided to test the 2 new corners, Mike Magruder from Kent State, who is actually a rookie, and Trent Bryant, who has had some experience in the NFL and the USFL. But when you have new corners, a guy like Clements, sooner or later, is going to test them.
It'll be 2nd and inches. Clements is going to throw it. He's got Sean Kehoe wide open. But he can't get into the end zone as he is stopped over there by Trent Bryant. That's the play you love, isn't it? 2nd and short.
I really like it from the standpoint that Kehoe goes out there like he's going to block, and he just stands there. And then the man that's supposed to cover him thinks that he's blocking. He rushes the quarterback, and then he sneaks out. Watch him. He goes right out into flat. And somebody is sleeping. Look at him. He's wide open. It's not a miscommunication someplace. I like that move right at the end, that little hop.
Well, Kehoe was attempting to get into the end zone, but he was stopped at the 3.5. Winnipeg with that short yardage offense. The Blue Bombers really threatening to turn this one into a rout. Willard Reeves is stopped short of the goal line by Gary Moten.
Well, Don, I predict that Clements is going to give the ball to Cantner. They're going to look for Reeves, and if Cantner's in the ball game, who is normally in there to block on the short yardage, I'm going to think he's liable to get the carry one.
It's at the 1. 2nd and goal. Oh, Clements is going to keep, and he gets there. That naked bootleg, and Fran McDermott did not keep him out of the end zone.
He fooled Fran McDermott also. Really, there's a defensive end or a linebacker that's responsible for making sure that this doesn't happen. And look who's the only guy there. Fran McDermott, and he was fooled just long enough for Tom to fall over the goal line. So 30-0. It's getting tough.
The point after by Trevor Kennard. And it's now Winnipeg 31, Saskatchewan nothing. Tom Clements scoring the 4th Winnipeg touchdown of the night, and we'll be back with the Blue Bomber kickoff right after this.
G'day. Canada sure is a sporting nation. This one's my favourite over here. Rap dancing. Of course, back home, our favourite sport is shark wrestling.
Shark wrestling?
Nothing better than sitting down to a few rounds of man versus hungry white pointer. With a drop of the amber nectar, Foster's,
white pointer?
Yeah. Of course, the hard part is getting the sharks into those tight little wrestling shorts.
Foster's, now brewed here.
Coming this month to CBC Sports, the 13th Commonwealth Games from Edinburgh, Scotland. Canadian competitors include sprinter Ben Johnson, fastest man in the world. Breaststroke star Cindy Onpu, the fastest in the Commonwealth. Olympians like cyclist Kurt Harnett and boxer Lennox Lewis. In all, we'll cover 10 sports. Exclusive coverage begins July 23rd. The Commonwealth Games on CBC.
The way things are going, Tom Clements may get the rest of the night off. At halftime, Coach Cal Murphy may opt to give John Huffnagel or Homer Jordan an opportunity to play. 31-0 is the score as Trevor Kenner's kickoff goes short, and it's taken by Mark Nelson, and Nelson is immediately bounced out of bounds at the 42-yard line by Roy Bennett.
Well, we said this Blue Bomber defense was tough, but Clements has got everything going his way. Just a little fake his power back, you know, Willard Reeves, and you see him fall over the goal line. Let's just add him up.
Well, the Roughriders have to get something going, and something going quickly. Papa won't get a chance to throw. Stan Mikowas made the initial contact. He just pushed him over.
He sure did. But you know what surprised him? Here, watch this man. Scott Flagle's going to show safety blitz. They're so concerned about him that Mikowas just comes in and dumps him. But number 14, Flagle's coming on a safety blitz. And Stan Mikowas, look how free he was. They blocked Flagle, but it didn't matter.
It's now 2nd and 17 from the 35-yard line. The direct snap to Pau. He won't get a chance to throw again. Tony Norman and Hassan Arbabakar. And as a coach, you like to see your two defensive ends meeting at the quarterback.
Ideal. You know, their job, get upfield, keep the quarterback in the pocket, and then go get him, and both of the big guys. And we know, hey, Norman had, what, 14 sacks last year to lead the Bombers, so he's no stranger to that quarterback in the pocket. He'll get him. That's excellent. Cal Murphy would be pleased with that.
And the man on the other side of the field, Jack Goda, must be wondering what on earth is going on tonight.
I don't think he would believe looking up the scoreboard and seeing 31-0, but they haven't done anything offensively.
Good kick by McGrath as the Blue Bombers were going after it. Nealis takes it back at the 30-yard line, and Nealis is forced out of bounds at about the 38. 56-yard kick by Jerry McGrath. Nealis had a return of 11 before being forced out of bounds by Ken Moore.
5:02. The way things is going, it could be 4 plays or so. You know, it's getting to be unbelievable. Clements is having quite a night, and that man, Joe Pau, has had no success at all. And now the rush is starting to get to him because they know he has to throw the ball.
Things aren't going to get any easier for this Saskatchewan team as they return home next week to play the Edmonton Eskimos. Clements throwing that screen to James Murphy. Murphy has a first down to the 50-yard line. Glenn Suter got through the blocking to make the tackle, or Murphy might have been long gone.
Boy, the key block is thrown by Joe Poplawski out here. But watch, we said, when you get rid of the ball on 3 steps, he doesn't go any deeper than 2 or 3 yards. Watch how fast that ball's going. 1, 2, 3, throw. You're not going to sack a quarterback. And Joe Poplawski at the bottom gets the key block on Eddie Ray Walker. And as you say, if he doesn't make that tackle there, it could have been another touchdown.
They go to the other side this time, the same type of play to Perry Tuttle, but Trent Bryant came up very quickly. The University of Arkansas free agent making the stop on Perry Tuttle for a loss of 1.
Now, that's what a corner has to do. He has to see that play developing and get up there in a hurry. What we're going to see, I don't know if it'll be this quarter or the next one, he's going to pump that out there, and there's going to be somebody running down the field, and they're going to throw a long one off of that.
Clements has hit on 16 of 18 attempts for 205 yards.
It's not a bad 40 minutes or whatever it's been.
2nd and 11. Clements throwing deep for Murphy. Down to the again making the tackle.
Now, that ball was in the air about 30 yards. And we talked at the opening. Again, watch the protection for Tom Clements. There will not be a white jersey show up in there. That is a great job of blocking. Look at it. The rush finally comes from the outside. He had all day. So it's like picking apples when they give you that much time.
33 yards for James Murphy. He has now caught 5 in this ball game. Hamelick has replaced Walby at the tackle spot for Winnipeg. 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. Draw play with Willard Reeves. But he is caught by Gary Moten and wrestled down with some assistance from Bryant and Suter. .248 is the time remaining. Winnipeg threatening to add to a big lead. Saskatchewan Roughriders came into Winnipeg Stadium tonight in a rather optimistic frame of mind, but the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have certainly destroyed any hopes that Jack Gouda and company may have had prior to the start of this ball game. On 2nd down, there's James Murphy to the 5-yard line. There's also a penalty flag on the play, and Murphy appears to be shaken up. James Walker may have been offside on the play. Murphy made the catch for 23 yards, but he is still down.
I was watching the secondary for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and with all that motion by Winnipeg, they are completely confused. You see Glenn Suter in the middle back there, but look at this. There's nobody there. He had all kind of room. You throw it in the hole, and a good receiver like Murphy will be there. And, boy, Tom couldn't be any sharper.
Well, it appears as though Murphy may be just winded.
Yeah, they don't seem to be working anywhere. He might have just lost his wind, as you say. They'll give him a minute or so. He's starting to get up. Look at him. Makes the catch. Let's just see what happens. Looks like it's two. Well, couldn't really see it, so I think he's okay. He's jogging off anyway.
And I'm sure much to the relief of Coach Cal Murphy, because the Winnipeg Blue Bombers don't really have a backup wide receiver. They thought they had Wayman Aldridge in camp. He wound up with the Edmonton Eskimos. And they had another receiver by the name of Allen, and he opted not to remain on the non-active roster. But Winnipeg does have a 1st down inside the 5-yard line. The short yardage offense is in there. Clements will throw it. He's got the receiver open, but Randy Faby was unable to hang on. Glenn Suter may have moved over just in time to deflect that ball away from Randy Faby.
Well, that little play-action pass like that, you're trying to get Sean Kehoe in the flat. He was covered, so you come off to Faby, who's your receiver, and that guy, Glenn Suter, just showed up in time. Otherwise, it would have been 6 more.
1984 draft of Saskatchewan out of Simon Fraser University. 2nd and goal from the 5. Clements to Murphy, touchdown.
They finally got a little bit of pressure on him, and it wasn't in time because that's only a 5-yard pattern. As we said, it's hard to sack him. He put it right on the money. You're going to see him get a little bit of pressure up there from I think it was number 76, although it could be 75, but he's going to get hit. But there's the catch. Nothing to it. Throw it right at him. Clear it out underneath. Poplawski takes off, opens the area, and then you run right into it and catch it.
James Murphy may very well make good on his pregame boast of 3 touchdowns. He now has 2. And with the point after by Trevor Kennard, it's now a 38-0 game. Ron, over the past couple of years, we have seen some explosive performances by Winnipeg here at home. But I think tonight may be the most efficient job from Tom Clements we have ever witnessed.
Boy, I'll say, I don't remember seeing him any sharper. You know, we, as you say, we've seen him come into this stadium and rip teams apart. But this first half tonight, he has dominated it himself. I mean, he's been calling excellent plays, but the execution that he's receiving from those guys up front, boy, I'll tell you, I don't ever remember seeing him any sharper, except for one time in the Grey Cup in the last play when he beat me. But I'll tell you one thing, he's doing it tonight.
1976. Clements to Tony Gabriel. Touchdown in the final seconds.
Yep. Another great day.
The ball bounces out of bounds, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will undoubtedly be asked to perform this kickoff chore over again.
That may be the first mistake of the half for this Blue Bomber team. They kicked it out of bounds.
Well, the most points that the Blue Bombers have scored against the Saskatchewan Roughriders is 50 at any time during the CFL confrontations between these two.
What year was that?
That certainly is within reach now. They hit 49 last year, 49-3. I'm not sure what year they hit that 50-point total. Our demon statistician, Sim Simone, isn't sure either. Why did you pass me the notes, Sim, if you don't know when it happened? Tom Clements, who this past winter completed his law studies at Notre Dame. Coach Cal Murphy was saying prior to the start of the season, he appears to be concentrating much more on football this year than in the past. Michael Alarms is tackled on the attempted kickoff return by Vernon Paul, with some help from number 72, Delbert Fowler. A return of 14 yards following that 56-yard kickoff by Trevor Kennard. Again, Joe Paopao operating from that short punt formation. To Bobby Johnson. Johnson unable to get away from James West.
Try to clear that out of there and then, you know, run the receivers down the field, throw it out there real quick to your back, in this case Bobby Johnson. But we talked about James West's speed. He came from his inside linebacker position and tripped him up for a 1-yard gain.
1:50 the time remaining in this first half. 38-0 Winnipeg in front. Saskatchewan looking at 2nd and 9. Paopao getting protection this time. He's got a receiver, Jeff Patterson, for a first down at the 51-yard line. Tyrone Jones was there to make the tackle with help from David Shaw.
On the hurry-up offense with a minute and a half left. Try to get some points before halftime. 1:37 left.
To the sidelines, Johnson goes out of bounds with a gain of about 5. Saskatchewan's offense really hasn't been able to do much, but Winnipeg, each time they have had the ball, have been able to drive it in for a touchdown.
It's been the kind of game you really like to have. We're going to get a procedure call, I believe, against that man.
Ray Elgard, the intended receiver. It's incomplete. Penalty flag on the play, and it's procedure against Saskatchewan.
Ray Elgard had a tendency to do that all last season. As you mentioned in the opening, Don, he likes to get a 10-yard run up to that line of scrimmage, and sometimes he just doesn't stop before the ball snapped, and as a result, he's offside.
Procedure, Saskatchewan number 81 is declined. 3rd down.
Well, you have to time that maneuver almost perfectly, and that time Ray Elgard did not. You know, you talk about people timing maneuvers, hitting that line of scrimmage. I still like that play a week ago. Kevin Konar of the BC Lions against Winnipeg. He had the ball almost before Clements, or had Clements almost before he got the ball from center.
Everybody liked that except Clements.
On 3rd down, McGrath attempting to throw, and it was deflected, I believe, by Roy Bennett.
Well, Bennett's the outside rusher. When he comes on, he has got to be looking for that, and you can tell by just, you know, the expression that Coach got his face that very disappointed. Little fake. You see the back trying to sneak out. Roy Bennett should be coming. He gets up in front, gets his hands on it, and he's the outside rusher. He did his job that time.
So with 1:16 remaining, as the Saskatchewan Roughriders desperately trying to get something going. Fail on that third down gamble, and now Winnipeg's Willard Reeves bursts up the middle for about 9 yards. Billy Jackson tripped him up. They rule that he touched down at the Saskatchewan 47-yard line. Roy Bennett today celebrating his 25th birthday. He had an outstanding rookie season and appears to be playing even better in this his sophomore year. Willard Reeves is inside the 45-yard line. A first down Winnipeg with 56 seconds remaining. Winnipeg beat Saskatchewan 50-19 on September 24th, 1983. Thank you, Sim Simone.
We knew Sim could come up with it.
Clemens had to duck underneath the charge of Nick Hebler. And he is dropped for a loss back at the 53-yard line. James Walker was also coming hard from the other side.
Clemens made a wise move, too. He saw Hebler coming, and he just hit the deck. Get down.
Second and 18 with 42 seconds remaining. Chris Walby, the big tackle, suffered a twisted knee earlier in the ball game and has been replaced by Mike Hamilton. Randy Faby has also come into the ball game, replacing Jerome Erdman. Clemens faked quickly, then had to drop back, throws the pass complete to Kantner, but Kantner is stopped right at the 45-yard line. Billy Jackson with Eddie Ray Walker there to bring down Kantner, and it will be 3rd and 11 Winnipeg.
Tom escaped with his life there. I think he was going to throw that ball quick, and his receiver was covered, and boy, did he scramble back to buy some extra time.
Well, he has been throwing very quickly, taking that 1-step or 3-step drop. And as you said, that time he looked as though he wanted to throw, but didn't have anybody to throw it to. Trevor Kennard will be trying a 52-yard field goal. This could be the final play of the first half. It is short and is grabbed there by Fran McDermott, and Fran McDermott is stopped at the 13-yard line, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders will head to the dressing room trailing the Winnipeg Blue Bombers by 38 points. Now let's go to CFL Control and Brian Williams.
Thank you, Don. Hi again, everyone. Busy halftime show coming up. CFL Commissioner Doug Mitchell will join me in the studio. All of Argo highlights from last night. Martina Navratilova won today. We'll have the highlights, and we will have national news headlines. Stay with us. Our halftime show is up next as CFL 86 continues from Toronto.
Saskatchewan backup Bernard Quarles is getting loose at that Rough Rider bench, so that is perhaps an indication that he will be coming into the ball game in the second half.
Yeah, he must have been the last one out of the locker room. Last one out starts. But now he's going to get his opportunity to play, and I imagine we'll see John Huffnagel. We'll see what Winnipeg does right away, but why not? 38-0, let's get them all in there.
Dave Ridgway preparing to kick off to get this second half underway for Saskatchewan. Nealis and Sampson are the two Blue Bombers standing back in the vicinity of the 10-yard line. The Rough Riders, winners of their season opener at home against the Calgary Stampeders. The Blue Bombers lost their first game of the year under the dome to the British Columbia Lions. Nealis takes it at the 7-yard line. Out to the 41 before he's brought down by Eddie Ray Walker. Nealis has done a good job on those punt and kickoff returns, and John Huffnagel is going to start the second half for Winnipeg.
You know, Kevin Nealis, third year from University of Manitoba. Last year was extensively, all he did was catch kicks. Now he works at the backup slot back position and probably backs up the wide receivers. We don't really know who it'd be, but I'd kind of like to see him get in there and see if he can catch the ball.
Mike Hamilton continuing to play that right offensive tackle position for Winnipeg in place of Chris Walby. Huffnagel to James Murphy, and Murphy gets a gain of about 7 yards. Well, they spot the ball at the 46, so it will be a gain of 6.
Good way to start. All quarterbacks like to hit that first one they throw, and whether it's the beginning of the game or third quarter, hit the first one. It gives you a little bit of confidence.
Murphy, 13 receptions in his first game of the year. He's caught 8 so far tonight. Second and 4, Winnipeg. Pass complete to Kantner, and Kantner down the sidelines to the 50 of Saskatchewan. So John Hufnagel is continuing where Tom Clements left off.
Well, I'll say nothing fancy there. Just stand up and throw. They have Billy Jackson moved into the inside as a linebacker, and he has to cover the back coming out of the backfield. He's at a disadvantage as soon as the ball snaps. He has too far to go to get there.
17 yards the gain for Pat Kantner. John Hufnagel completing his first 2 pass attempts of this second half. First and 10, the handoff to Willard Reeves. He'll pick up about 3, maybe 4 yards before being upended by Fran McDermott. The third quarter at Winnipeg Stadium with the Blue Bombers blowing away the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the first half with 38 points. Willard Reeves looking to go over the 100-yard mark in tonight's game. He has 68 yards so far on 15 carries. Movement at the line of scrimmage. Hufnagel throwing to Poplawski. First down at the 30-yard line of Saskatchewan. Billy Jackson appeared to be offside on the play. So not only are the Roughriders having problems stopping the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but they are also having a lot of penalty flags thrown against them tonight. Willard Reeves on the last carry was just a little slow in getting back to the huddle, and that time when he was blocking for John Hufnagel, he appeared to take another shot and will come out for at least 1 play.
Yeah, he sends Kantner, and there you see Reeves blocking on James Walker. Hufnagel just stands up and throws it to the backside and makes an easy catch, decline the penalty, and they're in scoring position again.
Sean Kehoe has replaced Willard Reeves. John Hufnagel gets the pass away to James Murphy. Murphy is upset by Eddie Ray Walker. Initially, he got away from Mike Magruder. And John Hufnagel was fortunate to duck away from Gary Lewis.
It looks like one of those nights. You know, we saw Clements go 20 for 23 and nothing wrong, and then they have a chance to sack John Hufnagel, and he escapes and throws a pass out there that I didn't think was going to make it, and it ends up in a, what was it, about an 8-yard gain?
Actually 7. It's second and 3. Sean Kehoe gets the first down as they counter inside to the 18-yard line. There doesn't appear to be any stopping this Winnipeg offense tonight.
Oh, this is the time to work on that running game. You know, you don't get this opportunity in practice, though, to work on it. Let's watch that offensive line come out. You saw the trap block. I believe it was Richard Nemeth comes over and makes the hit. Kehoe goes up inside, and we have a Saskatchewan Roughrider that's injured on the play. He's down. But as you say, so far they haven't stopped him.
Well, Sean Kehoe's most memorable football game, I suppose, was the Grey Cup of '84 when he was named the outstanding player in that game. He played a key role in Winnipeg's triumph over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and this is Gary Lewis being assisted to his feet.
I think he had a cramp, just the way the trainer was grabbing hold of his leg and trying to massage the calf muscle. He's walking off with no problem, so he should be back in the game.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders will return home following this game to prepare for the Edmonton Eskimos a week from tonight, and we'll have that game for you on CBC television. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be traveling to Hamilton to take on the Ticats next Saturday night. Willard Reeves is back in on a first down play from the 18-yard line as Sean Kehoe has gone to the bench. And the give is to Willard Reeves, and Willard Reeves breaks a couple of tackles down to the 10-yard line.
a lesson. It looks like a clinic tonight in offensive football. They're doing just about anything they want. You see the pulling guard, 59, it's Lyle Bauer, comes around the corner, makes his block, and then Reeves just runs till Jackson's able to haul him down. Last man between him and the goal line.
The ball at the 10-yard line, 2nd and 1 Saskatchewan after that romp of 9 by Willard Reeves. He now has 77 yards on the night. Pat Kantner will get the first down. 10:36 is the time remaining in the third quarter. 38-0. Cal Murphy's Blue Bombers totally dominating Saskatchewan and threatening to add more.
But in our talk today, when we were sitting there talking with him, he was not a very happy man with the performance last week against the Lions, and he said it's been a pretty tough week of practice, and he expected to see better results tonight. I don't think he was expecting that this season.
Clemens was 20 of 23. Huffnagel is 4 for 4 since starting this third quarter. Huffnagel 5 for 5, and Perry Tuttle has the touchdown.
Well, we saw James Murphy score the exact same touchdown on the exact same pattern from Tom Clements in our highlight package. This time they go to the other side of the field and they clear it out underneath, and then all Tuttle does is just jog right into that open area. He gets a step on Trent Bryant, makes the catch, nothing to it.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on their first possession in the second half drive for a touchdown, and Trevor Kennard adds the point after to make it a 45-0 game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers blowing away the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and we'll be back with the Winnipeg kickoff right after this. It didn't take the Blue Bombers long. 9 plays to cover 70 yards, with Perry Tuttle scoring the touchdown. His second touchdown of 1986. He had a touchdown in the season opener against the British Columbia Lions. Michael Elarms takes the ball at the 15-yard line on the Trevor Kennard kickoff, flips it out to Ray Elgard, and he is tripped up by James West.
Well, when it rains, it pours. They try to reverse. They'd been better off if Elarms would have kept it. There was a big hole for him, but as a result, he flips it out to Elgard, and they lose about 10. Huffnagel sprints this way to his right, and then underneath. There'll be no underneath coverage, as you can see. Pretty easy when they're that much in the open. What's James West? Bang. I like to watch him after he makes a play. He gets up and he gets excited.
Pat Kantner is the injured Winnipeg ball player, and
I would say that's another cramp.
Another cramp. The way they're working on his toes and pressing them back, it certainly would appear to be so. Tom Clements worked the entire first half. John Huffnagel started the third quarter, drove the Bombers for a touchdown. Each club this year has 3 quarterbacks on the roster. The number 3 man for Winnipeg is Homer Jordan. Will he get an opportunity to face his former teammates tonight?
I would bet he's going to play the fourth quarter. This is the ideal situation. This is what the CFL wanted when they put that third quarterback on the roster. When you get the opportunity to get him a little bit of work, he's there in case of injuries, but very seldom do you get to go in and he may get a whole quarter, which would be unbelievable, and you know he's looking forward to it.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders will have Harold Smith playing quarterback to start this offensive series from the 24-yard line. Smith to Michael Elarms, and Elarms will be taken out of bounds about a yard short of the first down. Harold Smith out of Texas Southern throwing to Michael Elarms, an Angelo State product. Joe Pow started the game for Saskatchewan and was just unable to generate any offense. And now Harold Smith will attempt to drive the Roughriders down the field and break that goose egg. He gives the ball to Conrad, and Conrad will have the first down at the 35-yard line. Ken Haley and Darrell Patterson combined to bring down the Saskatchewan running back. Conrad has played fullback, slot back. He was a linebacker back in 1981 in Acadia's Vanier Cup win, the Canadian Collegiate Championship. Pat Cantner still having some problems with those cramps over at the Winnipeg Blue Bomber bench. Smith looking over on the far side of the field for Michael Elarms, incomplete. And Elarms lost his shoe. So he comes out for at least one play. Greg Holmes will go in as his replacement.
Greg Holmes was obtained in that trade also, and they sent Willie Thomas and Craig Ellis east to Toronto and picked up Hebler and Holmes. I like Holmes. I'd like to see him get the opportunity to play and see if he can play football. I know he wants to play.
Well, Ellis was a very key figure last night in Toronto's win over Montreal. That Smith pass sails into the Rough Rider bench, and Saskatchewan will be kicking on third down. Ellis played, as I said, a major role. The Toronto Argonauts winning their second of the season, and our old buddy Leo Cahill, now the general manager of the Argos, has to be very happy with the start the Double Blue are having for 1986.
Boy, he sure does. You know, I don't know when and if we do a Toronto game for a while, but it'll be nice to sit and talk to him, and especially if they're winning.
Well, we'll get to visit with Leo on the 17th of this month when we're in Toronto. End over end kick is taken by Nealis at the 35-yard line. Nealis got away from Ken Moore and then turns it upfield and fights his way to the 49. A 40-yard kick by Jerry McGrath, and Kevin Nealis managed to return it 14 yards. 7:50 is the time remaining in this third quarter. Harold Smith, who has quarterbacked the Rough Riders in this third quarter, studying broadcast communications at Texas Southern. I'd like to get a little communication with those receivers in the second half of this ball game.
Well, the thing I've liked about him so far is at least he hasn't gone out and tried to throw the ball 70 yards downfield. He's approached it like a new game, win, make some first downs, hopefully gets a touchdown. But when you see 401 net yards to 50, you got a lot of work to do.
We talked about that Craig Ellis trade. Willie Thomas going to Toronto. Nick Hebler, the principal, as far as the Saskatchewan Rough Riders were concerned, along with Greg Holmes. And this is the first ball game in a green and white uniform for Nick Hebler. Hofnagel throwing that hitch screen to James Murphy, but over on the far side of the field, Eddie Lowe was ready. Fans of all ages taking in the action tonight at Winnipeg Stadium. I think he might be more interested in some of the other activities taking place around him than the actual football game.
He was smiling. At least he was enjoying himself. He must be a Bomber fan.
Pass is complete to Willard Reeves. First down, Winnipeg. Hufnagel still batting 100%, 7 for 7 now and throwing the football.
Second down and 13, and Saskatchewan dropped the. Watch those linebackers drop out of there in a zone defense. They're just dropping, and you see Willard Reeves right in front of them, and now you see Sean Kehoe saying, "I'll get one of them for you," and he missed it. But they got the first down.
16 yards the gain for Willard Reeves. First and 10, Winnipeg. The ball is at the Saskatchewan 48-yard line. Look at that stat. 26 Winnipeg first down, just 4 for the Rough Riders. The pitch to Willard Reeves. He'll have about 6 more. Well, he's closing in on that 100-yard rushing total. He now has 82 yards on 17 carries. Willard Reeves, the Shenley Award winner, is the country's outstanding performer 2 years ago. Each year he establishes personal goals, and as we said earlier, this season his objective, 1,800 yards. Pass complete to Sean Kehoe. First down to the 29. 8 for 8 now for John Hufnagel.
Well, you can tell one thing, that they've studied the game plan, because he's throwing exactly the same pattern. Just took the snap, stepped up, dropped it over the line of scrimmage, and let him run.
Tyrone Jones getting his ankle retaped at that Winnipeg bench as the offensive unit faces a 1st and 10 from the 28. Hufnagel throwing deep for James Murphy, incomplete. He finally missed a pass.
Well, he had all reason to miss there. James Walker, number 75, he escaped the block up front real quick, and he put the pressure on him. Hufnagel just let it go.
I referred to the fact that Homer Jordan would like to face his former teammates. Of course, John Hufnagel also played with Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that's a few years ago, but I'm sure he still enjoys playing. You know, that's a heck of a quarterbacking combination they've got with Clements and Hufnagel. Last year he came off the bench, and he saved them a few times.
He doesn't have to be a savior tonight. Joe Poplawski, the intended receiver, he was being covered over there by Fran McDermott, and that means that Trevor Kennard will enter the ball game on 3rd and 10. Ball at the Saskatchewan 29-yard line with 4:37 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Kennard, good on one of the 2 he has tried so far. This kick will come from 36 yards out. It's wide, and in the end zone, Fran McDermott will concede the single point. So the Blue Bombers come away with just 1 instead of the anticipated 3 on the field goal try by Trevor Kennard. And Winnipeg leads it 46-0.
A day's work can be pretty tough. That's why Toyota builds work trucks like Toyota 1-Ton. It takes on the biggest payloads in its class with a 2.4-liter engine. A column shift automatic means more room. And the all-new Toyota panel van. With 155.3 cubic feet of cargo space, it holds more than any small van. Solid choice. Toyota trucks.
Today's Carling O'Keefe Game Stars will receive a Royal Canadian Mint 1-ounce gold coin presented by Tilley, Canadian manufacturers of fine leather goods, bringing together quality and creativity in all their products. Tilley, for personal leather goods and travel wear. I think it's safe to say that the recipients of those gold coins tonight will be wearing a Winnipeg uniform.
You know, I bet you're right. I can't believe that you have it all figured out already.
Saskatchewan with a 1st down as Harold Smith moves the team over the ball at the 35-yard line. They've only had 4 first downs during the course of tonight's ball game. Pass complete to Bobby Johnson. He gets away from Wiley Turner and gets a 1st down up to the 45-yard line. That Winnipeg defensive unit has had things relatively easy in this football game tonight.
Boy, they have. You know, I was just thinking about a defensive game star. They haven't been out there long enough. We may not give them one just for that if they don't stay out there and earn it.
Johnson has only carried the ball for 2 yards tonight, in contrast to the 116 yards he ran for against the Calgary Stampeders. And on this particular attempt, he stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Stan Mikowas, and there's also a procedure call against Saskatchewan.
Well, it's pretty hard for him to rush for yards when the offense isn't out there.
Saskatchewan number 65, decline, 2nd down.
The call was against Neil Quilter, who plays that right guard position. It was declined, and it will be 2nd and 10.
Let's see, maybe they'll blitz him. Let's see what they do. 2nd down and long. Let's see if they blitz him again. Well, here come some of them.
Pass is complete to Johnson, and Ken Haley wraps him up almost immediately at the 50-yard line. He stopped short of the first down. And Saskatchewan sends in the punting unit. Ken Haley over the years has been something I think of an underrated defensive back.
Well, you know, you don't hear much about him, but when the All-Star team came out last year, number 24 there, Ken Haley was on it. So I think he was catching somebody's eye.
McGrath stands at the 36-yard line to launch this third down punt. Nealis and Sampson are back. Good kick that will be taken by Nealis at the 10. Penalty flag. Nealis breaks away from a couple, but I think it's going to be called back by a clipping call against Winnipeg. That Jerry McGrath kick traveled 50 yards, and Kevin Nealis on the return had a good run back, but it goes for naught.
Legal block, Winnipeg number 62, first down.
Richard Nemeth was guilty of that illegal block, taking the ball back to the 13 and wiping out a 13-yard run by Kevin Nealis. John Hufnagel continues as the Winnipeg quarterback with 2:23 remaining in this third quarter. This is the worst field position the Blue Bombers have had all night.
Sure is.
Hufnagel trying to improve it quickly. He does to Kevin Nealis for a first down at the 33.
Well, we wanted to see it, see what happens. That's a very well-run pattern by Kevin Nealis. It just cleared out by James Murphy, a little bit of play action to hold the linebackers, and then Nealis just goes right in behind to the open area, and as you say, that improves the field position in a hurry.
The other Murphy, Coach Cal, looking rather relaxed, and I guess you can afford to take things easy when you're in front by 46. You never had that experience as a coach, did you?
No, I was usually on the other side.
Movement at the line of scrimmage as Willard Reeves gets the ball, and he's wrestled down by Gary Moten at the 37-yard line. One of the reasons Gary Moten may have been able to make the tackle, I think he may have jumped prior to the ball being snapped. Winnipeg will have the 5 yards marched off, and we'll be looking at a first and 5 play.
Offside, 58, Saskatchewan, first down over.
Gary Moten has been in on a lot of tackles tonight from his middle linebacking position, but those penalties have also really hurt the Roughriders. 14 of them.
Most of them were crazy. They're just offside penalties. You know, there's no excuse for that.
James Murphy deep. Can't catch up with it. Magruder was running stride for stride with James Murphy. He's already scored 2 touchdowns tonight.
Well, he's trying for number 3. He said he was going to get 3, but Mike Magruder was with him step for step. He was a track man, track star at Kent State. I guess Mike Bowling, their Saskatchewan's coach, was telling me he was over a 26-foot long jumper. So he's a pretty good athlete.
We talked about cramps affecting players earlier in the ball game. It appears as though Tyrone Jones is having a similar problem.
He said, "I'm fine. How's the crowd taking it?" I mean, he looks pretty relaxed to me. Uh-oh, we have a flag being thrown. What is it? Delay of the game.
The Blue Bombers were a man short, and they could not send a player in.
Time count fall, Winnipeg number 12, second down.
So the Blue Bombers now have the full complement of 12 out on the playing field, and they will scrimmage 2nd and 10 from the 33. No way. Sean Kehoe was hit immediately by Gary Lewis.
Don, while we're having a second, well, my neighbor back in Ancaster is having his 50th birthday today, and they had a big surprise party for him, about 100 people showing up, and I was invited to go, but I think it might still be going on when I get home tomorrow.
This is only Bob Cameron's second punt of the game. That is a pretty solid indication of just how totally the Blue Bombers have dominated. The ball bounces to Jeff Patterson. Patterson at the 40-yard line, nowhere to go but down. So your neighbors hit the half-century mark. You're
Bud Harbor,
zeroing in on that, aren't you?
I'll probably be there in about 15 years.
The Roughriders 1st and 10 now from their own 42-yard line. Only the second punt of the ball game, as we said, for Bob Cameron. We have 18 seconds remaining in this third quarter. Smith throwing deep down the sideline. Michael Alarms could not hang on. He was open. And Smith delivered that ball perfectly. Alarms should have had it.
Just about as well as you can throw it. He just stepped back there, and Alarms turned that thing up the field. He put it right on the money. You just got to catch that. But that's the way the night's been. You know, it's so it's not a surprise to Jack Goda looking at him over there. He just shook his head. And he said, that looks like one of those nights.
Second and 10. The Roughriders operating out of that short punt formation. Here comes Tyrone Jones. Smith got away from him. Throws incomplete. It was intended for Patterson, and he was being covered by David Shaw. And that is the end of the third quarter, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are 15 minutes away from their first win of the season.
You know, these guys really like their beer.
Show them what we got you for your birthday, George.
Yeah, see, we got my name on it. Oh. Now, you don't think I'm just going to put any beer in here, do you? No. Only Miller Lite goes in here. That's right. Light tastes great, and it also tastes less filling than regular beer. Besides, this is something I've always wanted.
What's that?
My name in life.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Next Thursday, the CFL on CBC. Rick Johnson and the Calgary Stampeders come east in search of their first win of the year to Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. They'll meet a tough Roughriders defense led by Chris Ziegler. 4 interceptions in the first game of the year. Thursday, the CFL on CBC.
46-0, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The respective records of the two teams are about to even out at 1 apiece.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think they're going to get 47 in 15 minutes.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders will be at home a week tonight against the Edmonton Eskimos. Our next telecast on the CBC network will be on Thursday night when we're in Ottawa as the Roughriders, with a 2-0 mark, take on the Calgary Stampeders. To start the fourth quarter, Jerry McGrath will be punting, standing at his own 27-yard line. Winnipeg dropped 3 people back. The short man is Scott Flegel. McGrath has been kicking very well. One of the few bright spots for Saskatchewan tonight. Nealis takes the ball, spins around, and look out for this young man. He can fly. McGrath, the lone man back. Will he catch it? No. It's celebration time.
He's going to try to get wide. It looks like a return set up to the wide side, and all of a sudden he turns and finds a hole, picks up a couple key blocks, and now it's just speed. From here on, it's his speed against theirs. No contest. McGrath had a shot, but he didn't have the speed to catch him.
82 yards on the punt return for Kevin Nealis. And Trevor Kennard adds the point after to make it a 53-0 game.
Take another look at it. Looks like he wants to go wide. And then all of a sudden, he turns around. He picked up a key block in there from, I think, number 52, and now it's just a race. Nothing to this game, is there?
Well, now I think that Winnipeg defensive squad will be endeavoring to keep the Roughriders off the board, because this would be a club record for the highest shutout ever recorded. Their previous best was a 36-0 win over Montreal back in 1982, and they also were thumped 53-0 by Montreal in a game played in 1967. And it's now 53-0, Winnipeg leading Saskatchewan. A total rout tonight here at Winnipeg Stadium, and unexpected.
Oh, very much so. I know I was expecting a very physical, hard-fought football game, and I figured maybe 7 points difference. I didn't really see it being a blowout. I think when you come in off a win, your first game, you're going to be flying high, and you know Winnipeg wants to come back after a loss, so I thought it'd be a heck of a game.
Michael Elarms on the kickoff return, and he is surrounded. The Roughriders, on almost every offensive series, have not really had good field position. As a matter of fact, apart from that first quarter, have they penetrated Winnipeg's half of the field?
I think only once. And then that interception took care of that. But the disappointment, I think, is on those. They've had a lot of chances to return kickoffs, and they've fumbled them. They've messed around. I mean, you're kicking from the 35, and you're only out to the 22. You've got to get that ball out of there and get some field position that way.
Smith looking for Elarms. He's got him, and Elarms gets away from one, gets away from two. And he works his way out to the 44-yard line with Tony Norman from his defensive end position coming back to make the tackle.
I know, talking to the Saskatchewan coaches, they feel Mike Elarms can be an outstanding receiver. I mean, it's hard to say if you never get the ball, but watch him. He makes the catch. He escapes Ken Haley's tackle, puts a move on Roy Bennett. Now he's back inside, turns it upfield, and Brodanovic finally comes over, and then Bennett will come back and help him, but he does run well with the football.
Leading by 53, the Blue Bombers have been able to substitute rather freely. Penalty flag as Stan Mikolas was in the face of Harold Smith. Michael Elarms was the intended receiver. He was being covered by Roy Bennett.
I think what we're going to hear here is this new rule that we're going to hear this referee call it a strike pass interference. Okay, I thought it was going to call that ineligible block of an eligible receiver, which means he was knocked down, and it was Ray Elgard that Delbert Fowler flattened him.
Forward pass interference, Winnipeg, first down.
You know, the Roughriders have the distinction of having the highest shutout ever recorded against them, a 55-0 whipping at the hands of the Edmonton Eskimos. This ranks number 2 on the all-time list, and that 55-0 score may be surpassed before this one is over. Conrad gets the handoff out to the 54-yard line. Darrell Sampson, who is getting a chance to play at that defensive halfback position, came in to make the tackle.
Well, Winnipeg's going to be dropping those linebackers out of there a lot now, and especially on first down. Just try to take away those short passes so that you're going to get some yardage on those draw plays.
Sampson has replaced Scott Flagel at safety. Smith with time, throwing deep for Tony Dennis. He's got it. Taken out of bounds by Wiley Turner. Tony Dennis from Simon Fraser grabbing that throw.
They say he has a strong arm. Watch this. Just flip, and there it goes. They say Tony Dennis is from Simon Fraser, and he's getting the opportunity to start at that slot back position. They said the best pattern he runs is a corner pattern, down and break to the deep corner. There's something about the way he got the nice weave in his release, and he ran away from the defense there.
A 40-yard gain, and the Roughriders, for the first time tonight, are in scoring position. Handoff to Johnson, and Johnson broke the initial tackle and then was stopped at about the 12-yard line. Sampson came up from his safety spot to make the tackle, and there's an injured Winnipeg player.
There he is, Darrell Sampson from York University comes up, and he took the hit. He did not deliver the blow. He took it from Bobby Johnson, and as a result, he took it right on the shoulder. I see where he got hit, but he went down hard.
Sampson, a rookie from York, and that means that Scott Flego will come back into the ball game.
6'2", 175. That's good size for a defensive back. Next time he comes up, though, he's going to get down in a hitting position. Bobby Johnson, I would like to see him carry the ball a little more, though. We heard an awful lot about him, and he must have had a great game against Calgary. I'd like to see him get some work.
It appeared as though he took the blow on his left shoulder. Ross Hodgkinson continuing to talk to Sampson and work on that injured left shoulder with 11:59 remaining in the game. Well, Sampson comes off. Scott Flego goes back in at safety for Winnipeg. 2nd and 7 for the Roughriders. Their next game a week tonight at Taylor Field against the Edmonton Eskimos. And the Eskimos are off to a fine start under Jackie Parker. A victory on the last play against Calgary, and then an impressive performance on Thursday night against the British Columbia Lions.
What I was most impressed with was the play of Matt Dunnigan, the way he only ran the ball, I think, 3 times, and he just stood in there. He threw that football very crisply and right on the money, and boy, they had the BC Lions confused, and then turning on the other side, the Eskimo defense shut them down.
2nd and 7 for the Roughriders. The fans here at Winnipeg Stadium want that defensive unit to shut them out. The pass is intercepted by Roy Bennett. He fumbles the ball. Winnipeg manages to retain possession as Scott Flego gets it. Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on their first offensive series of the 4th quarter will introduce their 3rd quarterback, Homer Jordan.
Yeah, that particular pass, he gets a little pressure, but he just flat throws it over the head of Ray Elgard. You see, it's overthrown, and naturally there's going to be a defensive back there, in this case Bennett. He's trying to lateral the football. That's a dangerous thing to do.
I thought he had fumbled, but as we saw on the replay, he tried to flip it out to Scott Flego. Jordan throwing the pass to Kevin Nealis, and that will be a gain of about 7 or 8 yards, depending upon where they place it. Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders fumbled the ball on 3 occasions, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers got a 4th turnover as the result of Roy Bennett's interception.
That was a little surprising. Come out throwing on your 5-yard line and just come out there and throw an 8-yard pass. Jordan has got off to a good start.
Jordan gives the ball on 2nd down to Sean Keogh. He gets the 1st down. Fumbled the football, but it, I believe, rolled out of bounds.
Looks like he might even be short. They were very fortunate. It looked like a ball rolled out just before the 1st and 10 marker there and came loose. He initially wanted to hit off tackle. Saskatchewan did a great job of stacking it up, but he bounced outside.
You're right. They are just short of a 1st down, and that means that it's 3rd and inches, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are going to go after it.
3rd down, inches to go.
9:57 is the time left. Homer Jordan, the former Saskatchewan quarterback, now directing the Winnipeg attack. He'll try and keep for the 1st down and should have it. Of course, Homer Jordan wants to get as much playing time as he can in this ball game, so he was quite happy that Cal Murphy decided to gamble on 3rd and inches deep in his own zone.
He sure did. You know, he's not going to get much playing time this year, and it's great to see 3 quarterbacks on the roster, especially a young guy like Jordan who needs playing time. You know, you're not going to improve when you never get the opportunity to play. Last year, he wouldn't even have been able to dress, and at least he's going to get into a game that last year he had no chance of.
There's first down number 31 for Winnipeg as James Murphy makes the catch. Lost the football. Saskatchewan gets it back. Glenn Suter comes up with the football. James Murphy made the catch, then fumbled the ball. He had a first down, but Saskatchewan recovers the fumble.
We're going to get a roughing the passer call here, and it's going to give possession, I think, back to Winnipeg. Heck of a throw. Threw it right in there, and then Murphy trying to escape and make extra yards, but there's a flag down, and I believe it was roughing the passer.
Yes, the yardage being marched off against Saskatchewan.
Major foul, roughing the passer, 99 Saskatchewan, first down.
Nick Hepler getting his name on the statistical sheet for that violation, and he heads off to the Saskatchewan bench. He's been replaced by Alan Johns. Jordan in trouble, and he's stopped by Alan Johns. He did not get a chance to throw.
Good rush by number 75. James Walker comes from the outside, put the first hit on him, and as Jordan spun to try to get away, Johns let him have it.
One of the reasons that Jack Goda was happy to get Nick Hepler from the Toronto Argonauts, he was telling us he is a hauler type of guy, and the type of player he felt his Saskatchewan squad needed.
Yeah, and the main thing about being the hauler guy, everybody knows who he is. He's not just a new kid coming in there. Everybody knows Nick Hepler's been through the wars.
Homer Jordan fires the pass over the middle. It's complete, but there's nowhere for Sean Kehoe to go as he was decked by Gary Moten.
That was an awful good hit. I mean, just as he caught the ball, Kehoe turned around, and he really took a hit from Gary Moten.
So on 3rd and 10, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will kick it away with 8:13 still to play. Bob Cameron had a rather relaxed evening. I don't think they're going to have to do a dry cleaning job in his uniform tonight.
I wouldn't think so. He may not even work up a sweat. He may not shower.
He could very well be the first out of the locker room tonight. Only his 3rd punt of the ball game. Greg Holmes fields it. Greg Holmes is stopped at the 38-yard line. Scott Flagel was the first man downfield. So the Roughriders, trailing by 53, will scrimmage from their own 38 when we return.
It's the bitter and the sweet. It's high hopes and the facts of life. It's fast friends and new faces. What are we going to do about her? And it's at its best. On CBC television, best on the box.
At the Winnipeg bench, Homer Jordan conferring with the assistant coaches upstairs in the spotter's box. And Joe Pow just looking at that clock, wishing this one was over. Homer Jordan wants to keep on playing. Harold Smith for Ray Algard. First down at the Winnipeg 51. I like the way Smith rifled that one in there.
Well, we saw him play last year a couple times. He has a heck of a strong arm, and Algard runs great patterns when he can go down and turn to the inside, and he'll find the hole. The Blue Bombers, as we said, are sitting back in a zone. He'll find the hole, and when Smith's arm, he'll get it there in a hurry.
Well, Smith has completed 6 passes tonight in 11 attempts. 3 of them have gone to Ray Algard. He was looking that time for Michael Elarms. It will be 2nd and 10 from the Winnipeg 51. The injured Winnipeg player is linebacker Tyrone Jones. We've talked numerous times about free agent camps. What a find Winnipeg came up with when they got Tyrone Jones.
He's done a heck of a job for him. You know, he's listed, I think, at 6 foot, but I would question that. I don't think he's quite 6 foot tall, but he's a 220-pounder, and he's a solid 200-pounder, too.
Out of Southern University, the 1985 Shenley winner as the outstanding defensive player, and of course he was the defensive MVP of the '84 Grey Cup game.
I think that those cramps are coming back to bother him a little bit.
I've never been able to figure out that fella on the sidelines. Was that Buzz or Boomer?
I don't know. I wasn't about to say anything because I don't know.
Underthrowing was Tony Dennis, so it's 3rd and 10, and there's also a penalty flag roughing the quarterback charged against Winnipeg.
Major foul, roughing the passer, number 72, Winnipeg, 1st down.
Linebacker Delbert Fowler gets charged with the roughing the passer call.
Well, we'll see him come in. Coming from the outside. There it comes. The ball's gone. Hits after the ball. Is that left the quarterback's hands? Good call.
Holmes has replaced Jeff Patterson for Saskatchewan. Harold Smith didn't get a chance to throw as Hassan Abubakar got through to drop the Saskatchewan quarterback.
Well, you saw those Winnipeg linebackers right up in the line of scrimmage that time. They was coming on the blitz, and they put the pressure on in a hurry.
Well, they're removing the tape from the ankle of Tyrone Jones. So he could have a problem. Vernon Paul is in at a linebacking position now for Winnipeg. 2nd and 16. Smith throwing it deep for Ray Elder. Incomplete. Ken Haley was defending against the Saskatchewan slot back.
Ray Elgar got up really complaining to the officials about a pass interference. He's a little upset, but the Bombers came with a safety blitz. Number 14, safety Scott Flegel is free. He gets up in his face just as the ball's thrown. We're going to get a good look at it here. I don't think I'd call pass interference. He could have caught that football. He just dropped it.
Field goal attempt by Ridgway from 48 yards out. It's short, and it's taken by Scott Flegel, and Scott Flegel tries to get to the outside. He does! He got all the way to the Saskatchewan 45 before being stopped by Dave Ridgway, the last man who had a shot at him.
To Oshawa and eastern metropolitan Toronto, to Windsor, to Montreal, to Ottawa, to eastern Canada, Intercity Airways is your connection because you deserve comfort, convenience, and competitive fares. Make the right connection. Intercity. Put time back into your hands.
Professionals and do-it-yourselfers, Underground Specialties is the place for all your plumbing, pumps, and drainage supplies. Their experts can help you do that job right the first time. Do it right with the sink tank. This easy-to-install under-the-sink carbon water filter improves water quality. It removes chlorine and other chemicals that often affect the taste and odor of drinking water. It also removes up to 95% of dioxins. The revolutionary new sink tank is available at Underground Specialties, 5340 Walker Road, 3 miles south of EC Row.
Blue Bombers have done just about everything right tonight. A punt return for 82 yards by Kevin Nealis. Scott Flagel with a 61-yard missed field goal return.
Play before he blitzed the quarterback and almost got a sack. That time he brought the missed field goal back 61 yards.
1st and 10. They rule that Flagel went out of bounds at the 48 of Saskatchewan, and that's where the Blue Bombers are scrimmaging. Almost intercepted by Moten. Murphy was the intended receiver, and we suggested that there could be a problem with that ankle of Tyrone Jones, and we are informed that his right ankle is sprained and it's wrapped in ice.
Might as well take him in the locker room right now, put him in the ice bag, you know, put him in the whirlpool and fill it with ice and get it done right. He's not going to play anymore.
Jordan looking for Murphy. Did he make the catch? They rule he did. It's a 1st down. The ball at the 36-yard line of Saskatchewan with 4:29 remaining here at Winnipeg Stadium.
Simple turn-in pattern, nothing fancy. Ball was thrown low, he made the catch.
Let's see now, 13 receptions in his first game, 11 tonight. At this rate,
it's going to be a heck of a season.
Terry Tuttle. He'll be very close to another 1st down at the 25.
You know, Don, talking to Cal Murphy and the other coaches yesterday, I asked about Homer Jordan, how he's progressing. And the thing that they say they've been working with him on is to be patient and throw the ball short, take what they give him. They said when they got him, he had a tendency to want to throw deep all the time, so they don't allow him to throw deep too often. They want him to learn how to play ball control and hit the short people, and so far tonight he's done it.
Well, obviously, he must have some skills to take Clemson to that national championship, and of course, he and Tuttle were teammates on that 82 championship squad.
Just like old times, that was.
Willard Reeves runs into about 3 Saskatchewan defenders, led there by Eddie Lowe. Well, a dejected group at that Saskatchewan Roughrider bench. Losing is one thing, but to get blown away 53 zip is another.
Well, especially coming off a win in your first game and you get the Stampeders and you win that one, and then to come in here and, you know, when you want to move up in the standings, you got to beat the guys at the top, and that's what they were hoping to do.
1 yard on that last play for Willard Reeves at 2nd and 9. Homer Jordan throwing into the end zone. He really overthrew James Murphy. So it will be 3rd and 9 Winnipeg, and coming into the ball game again for a field goal try is Trevor Kennard.
That was good coverage. Mike Magruder had him man-to-man, and then they had Glenn Suter taking off deep behind him just to give him some help in case it went deep, and Homer wisely just threw it over everybody's head.
Well, we've seen 3 Winnipeg quarterbacks in tonight's ball game, and Coach Cal Murphy was telling us before the game that a rookie injured in training camp, Tom Mickey, may be a pretty good ball player and a quarterback of the future for the Blue Bombers. Trevor Kennard will attempt a field goal when we return to Winnipeg Stadium.
Roll 40, C-17 is going to Vancouver.
Trevor Kennard will be kicking about a 31-yard field goal here, or trying it with 3:01 remaining in the ball game. The Saskatchewan Roughriders will return home to prepare for the Edmonton Eskimos. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be traveling to Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton to take on the Ticats, who are still looking for their first win.
A little bit of a surprise. The Ticats picked up a few injuries along the way and then lost a close one in Toronto. And then the other night, the Ottawa Roughriders, that defense of the Roughriders must be tough. On you at least did the game. I haven't had the opportunity to see them, but they must be playing well.
They did play well against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and J.C. Watts was particularly sharp as that Ottawa quarterback, and Mark Baruch hauled in 13 passes. Trevor Kennard with the field goal for a 56-0 Winnipeg lead. In case you're wondering, The most points by one team in one game, 82. Montreal, 82-14 over Hamilton in 1956. Then 67. Hamilton, 67-21 over Saskatchewan. That was in 1962.
That's the night Joe Zuger threw 8 touchdowns in his first start for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I remember that. I was with Ottawa, and then Saskatchewan had beaten us on Saturday, and he went into, then I guess it was Hamilton Civic Stadium, and Zuger went crazy.
Number 3 on the list is 65. Winnipeg, 65-25 over Ottawa in 1984. Harold Smith to Dennis, stopped at the 40-yard line, a gain of 5. Joe Pau spent 6 years with the British Columbia Lions, traded to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Throughout his career, he has had a history of injuries. They have reduced his effectiveness. Tonight, his effectiveness reduced by a very solid Winnipeg defensive squad. That pass intended for Elarns almost picked off by Roy Bennett.
That one, I think, it's been a little wise to hang on to. We're going to watch the ball. We're going to see the quick drop. It's trying to just drop it in the hole, but watch the cover. Bennett in front of him and Haley behind him. There really was nowhere to throw that one. Good coverage.
Third down at the 41-yard line. This is the point in the ball game when everybody on that Saskatchewan bench keeps looking at that clock, thinking that maybe it's stopped. Sampson will take it at the 30-yard line. Obviously, the problem with his shoulder that took him out of the ball game a little earlier was not as serious as we might have first thought. Ray Algard was downfield to make the tackle. So for Winnipeg, it is 1st and 10. The ball is at the 28-yard line. Heading off to that Saskatchewan bench is the center, Mike Anderson. He was an 84 territorial protection of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He attended college at San Diego State. As we mentioned, his father Paul played with Saskatchewan from 1953 to 58. .213 the time remaining. Sean Kehoe gets to the 30-yard line. Pickup of a couple. It will be 2nd and 8, Winnipeg.
Linebacker standing up very close. Must have been a blitz situation. Try to run into a blitz. It's pretty difficult. 2 yards is about all you're going to get.
Second and 8, Winnipeg with 1:59 still to play. Homer Jordan, the quarterback for Winnipeg, throwing to the sidelines, looking for Kevin Nealis, incomplete. He was being covered by Magruder.
That was a nice draw. Rick Goltz finally put a pretty good hit on Homer Jordan. He got some pressure. He tried to sprint outside, and they got him contained pretty good, and he stepped up inside. Pretty well thrown football, and then he took the hit, and down he went.
As we said earlier, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have substituted rather freely in this second half. The 2 backups, Kevin Nealis and Fabi, are running out of those slot back positions for Winnipeg.
Well, you know, a backup's only one injury away from being a starter, so anytime you can get him experience, you have to get him in the game.
Patterson takes the 3rd down punt by Winnipeg's Bob Cameron, and finally forced out of bounds by Vernon Paul. So Saskatchewan will scrimmage with 1:36 remaining from the 40-yard line. Now, what does Jack go to do with his troops when they return home? Try and tell them, wipe this one out of your thoughts and forget about it and regroup and live to fight another day.
Well, it's only a football game, you know, and you got 18 games to play. You've won the first one, you lost the second one, you're 500. Get it out of your system. You know, there's no sense worrying about it. It's not going to come back, and you don't get to play it again.
David Conrad takes the pass, and Delbert Fowler takes him out of bounds. Yeah, what's that old saying? Water that has passed the mill will not turn the wheel.
Oh, right. I like that.
James Murphy, 2 touchdowns tonight, 11 receptions, 24 on the season to assume the league lead as the #1 pass receiver in the Canadian Football League. Winnipeg was going after Smith that time, and James West got to him.
Well, I think there was about 3 that had a shot at him, but West was the guy I think that got the leg on him. We're going to take a look at the linebacker. Number 58's on the blitz, coming around. Daryl Patterson comes free. Bobby Johnson tried to get there, but he was a little bit too late. And now West is pretty happy.
James West, a very animated individual as he comes off the bench. Fred Glick, the linebacker coach, pleased that the troops he sent after Harold Smith managed to get there. Kevin Nealis will field this 3rd down punt at the 30-yard line. Nealis with another return, and fortunately for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, he was hauled down. Mark Nelson in there to make the tackle. Nealis tonight has returned 8 punts for 155 yards, and he is the injured Winnipeg Blue Bomber. And again, well, we don't like to diagnose what the problem may be. Cramps have been something of a problem tonight for a number of players.
Kind of surprising. Let's see what happened. Down he went.
Well, perhaps this was Gary Moten falling on the knee that caused the problem.
He's limping on that right leg, the one that slammed into the ground as he was being tackled. That right knee hit into the ground very hard, and then Moten fell on top of it. So I guess you can limp when that happens. Seems to be okay.
1:01 the time remaining here at Winnipeg Stadium, 56-0, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers attempting to preserve this shutout.
They'd like nothing better than to run this last minute right off the clock right now.
Saskatchewan, one of the teams the Blue Bombers played 3 times this year. The other being the BC Lions. Sean Kehoe is upset at the 50-yard line. And now we have some action. Eddie Lowe and Sean Kehoe. Kehoe got a pretty good, Lowe got a pretty good shot in there as Kehoe was upset. He reacted. Jack Goda trying to keep Lowe out of any further confrontation. There's a penalty flag down. Rough play is being charged against Saskatchewan. Kehoe got up and immediately went after Eddie Lowe.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, 42 Saskatchewan, 1st down.
Inside the 45-yard line of the Roughriders, 1st and 10 Winnipeg with 56 seconds left to play. I'm sure there's a great deal of frustration on the part of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
At this point of the game, it really is. You know, they've been out on that field all night.
Hand off to Sean Kehoe, and Kehoe is inside the 40-yard line. Eddie Ray Walker making the tackle. Six carries now for Sean Kehoe for 21 yards. In this 4th quarter, he has pretty much done the bulk of the ball carrying as far as that Winnipeg ground game is concerned, as Willard Reeves gets the rest.
great opportunity to work on that running game. That's the one part that's neglected because you don't like to beat the people up in practice.
Sean Kehoe taking the pitch. And Eddie Lowe was over there to make the tackle. And probably say something to Sean Kehoe as he gets up as well.
Yeah, they'll have to have a few words and talk it over a little bit.
Bombers are stopped short of a first down. They are at the 37 of Saskatchewan. And with the seconds ticking away, the Blue Bombers leave in the offensive unit. Appeared to be a mix-up, and Homer Jordan is forced to carry, and he is going to be stopped short of the first down with just 3 seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a mix-up, and then I think he would have just as soon tried to run those other 3 seconds off of there and go home, but Rick Goltz, number 63, pretty good job of blocking. He finally escaped and ran. Oh, number 75, Walker made the tackle.
It's been a long night for Rick Goltz and all members of that Saskatchewan defensive unit. This should be the final play of the ball game. Smith throwing deep. Knocked away by James West. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers destroy the Saskatchewan Roughriders here at Winnipeg Stadium by a 56-0 score. As Jack Goda comes across to congratulate Cal Murphy. And it will be a long plane ride home for the Winnipeg or the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers struck early. James Murphy and Joe Poplawski scoring 2 touchdowns each. A ball game that saw Trevor Kennard surpass the 1,000-point total for his CFL career, the earliest that any player has ever done it in a career, and Willard Reeves cracked the 4,000-yard rushing barrier in his CFL career. Cal Murphy has now joined us down on the sidelines. Coach, an explosive performance. We made the comment, we've never seen Tom Clements much better in a football game than he was tonight.
No, he really had an outstanding game, and he kept them off balance the whole first half. And, you know, when he's got it going, I don't think there's anybody any better because he really can wheel and deal when things are going well.
Cal, you were concerned about the blocking for Tom Clements last week in D.C., but in that first half tonight, I think he only took 1 hit, and that was on Murphy's touchdown. I don't think he could have got a much better job out of those linemen, do you?
No, I think we got excellent blocking, and especially in the second quarter, they were really coming with a lot of blitzes, and that's when we started a half roll, and we picked them up very well. And well, as I told you before the game, we worked hard on it this week and spent some extra time at it.
Well, that hard work certainly paid off in dividends. 56-0 the final score. Cal Murphy, congratulations.
Thanks very much. Okay.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers even their record at 1-1, and we'll return after we pause for this message.
All right, thank you, Don. With that blowout, we wind up week number 2 in the CFL. Let's have a look at the conference standings, beginning with the Western Conference. Winnipeg now tied with the BC Lions and Saskatchewan behind first place Edmonton. In the Eastern Conference, of course, Toronto won last night. Ottawa and the Argonauts remaining undefeated at 2 wins and will score the Bombers by 56 points. We will talk to you next Thursday night. Our game Thursday, Calgary at Ottawa. I'm Brian Williams. Good night from CFL Control.